Hey, what's up everyone? John here with WebDev for you, here to help you build awesome websites without code in Webflow. Today is going to be a quick interaction. It's interaction number 155, and it's this button hover animation we have here. So I showed how to do this animation in one of my live streams, and I just wanted to create a quick video to showcase how to do this quickly. So we are using the Anime.js script from, his name is, let's see here, documentation, Anime.js by, Julian Garner here. So it's a great script. We're going to be using the JS deliver CDN to get access to the script, and then we're going to add a bit of code to create this. We're going to create these squares using grid and Webflow, and then we're going to use the code to animate it on hover here. So I'll go ahead and get started in Webflow. So I'll hit Command K to bring up Quick Find. I like to start all my sites with the section. You can also use the elements panel here to access elements quickly. And then I'll just give this the class name section, give it a min height of 100 VH, and I'll use flex to center elements in the section. And then I'll give it a background color here of almost black, 181818. I'll have to select the section first. And that was the font color I changed here, so let me undo that. So we add it here in the backgrounds, we add the background color. And now I'll add a link block, because we want this button to link out to something. So I'll add a link block, and I'll call this button wrapper. And I'll give it a specific width and height. You can set the width and height of your button to anything you'd like. Actually, the width I want it to be 300 and the height 100. So I'm using 300 by 100 because I'm going to use 10 by 10 pixel blocks. So there's actually, in this button, there's 300 blocks. So the way I did that is I created this button wrapper, and inside of this button wrapper, first we're going to set the position to relative, because we're going to add another div block in here, and we're going to set it to button grid, or call the class button grid. And actually let me use lowercase for the section just to keep it consistent. Button grid, there we go. And I'm going to set the position to absolute and full. So the reason I'm doing this is because we're going to add some text on top, and we'll do that after. So I want this grid to be absolute so I can place the text in the middle, and that'll be a bit more clear in a second. So we have the link block button wrapper 100 by 300, or 300 by 100, and then we have this button grid set to absolute and full, and then we'll add the grid display setting to this button grid, and I'll remove the gaps, so I don't want any gaps in here. And I want, let's see, I want 30 columns, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'll just keep adding till I have 30 columns, and I want 10 rows. Okay, and that's it. So right now it looks a bit weird, and that's because we haven't added anything inside of the grid. So I'm going to hit Command K and add a div block, and I'm going to call this grid-cell, or grid block. I'll call it grid block, and I'll say 10 by 10. And then I'll grab a color. I'll use the same color that I'm using here, this blue color. So I'll grab it from here, and we'll just give it a background color of blue. Okay, and all I have to do here is copy and paste this grid block 300 times. So I'll hit Command C to copy, and then I'll just hold down Command V until it's copied. So we have the second row, third row, fourth row, fifth row, sixth row, seventh row, eighth row, ninth row, and 10th row. Okay. Oh yeah, okay, so we don't want to keep pasting because it'll just add below it. So let's see, 1, 2, let me see if I got that. Yeah, so that looks good, 300 by 100. So there's 300 grid blocks in this button grid. Okay, So now what I can do is I can add some text in the button wrapper. So I'm gonna hit Command K, add a text block, and I'm gonna call this button text. And for the button wrapper, I'm actually gonna set the position to flex center center. So anything I place in the button wrapper will be in the center. And because this button grid is set to absolute, it's not gonna really be affected. So the button text I'm gonna set to relative, so it comes to the front. And the button wrapper, let's remove the underline for the link block. And then for the button text, I'm gonna set it to weight right over here. And we'll just set the text to learn more, all capital. And I'll use Montserrat for now. We'll install a new font in a bit. And we'll say 22. And we'll say the line height 1-unitless. Okay, and maybe we'll make this semi-bold, give it some letter spacing. All right, so there we have the button. Now we can add the code to make this effect here, where we hover over and it creates this effect. So to do that, let's just go into the documentation for Anime.js. And there's a section here called staggering, and they have a grid here. So basically the way it works is we first add the script, and then we target the grid, the parent grid, and then we target the blocks inside of the parent grid. And then here is where you can set the different values. So I'm just going to copy this. And actually, before we do that, we want to go and get the script. So we want to go to jsdeliver.com, and here I'll type in anime.js, and it's this second one here. And we want to click this toggle, then click on show and configure all links, select HTML output, and then I already have it here, so it's this script right here. So I'll copy to clipboard by clicking this icon. Then we'll go back into Webflow, and we'll open up the page settings, and in the before the body tag, I'll just place that script in there. So you do need at least a light account plan or a site plan on your project in order to use the custom code feature in Webflow. And if you want to get started with Webflow, there's a link in the description area below if you don't already have an account. And then I'll add this open script tag and this close script tag. And then we'll go back into anime.js, and I'll just copy this code here. Okay, so I'll paste that in there. And what we want to do is target, so the way we built this button, we want to target the button grid, and then we want to target the grid block in there. So we'll go into the code, and we'll say the first class will be button-grid, and the second class will be grid block. So we're targeting the grid blocks inside of the button grid. And that's it. And then we want to set the grid width and height. Or the grid, how many columns and how many rows. So there's 30 columns and 10 rows. Okay, let's just double check that. So here it's 14, 14 by 5. Okay, great. So it's 30 by 10 for the grid, and we're animating from the center, and awesome. So now I can click save and publish. And when I preview, we have the animation. It's pretty cool. So right now it's just playing automatically and it's not looping. So what we want to do, and I'll just grab the code from my project here. So I added a piece of code, which is right here, document query selector button wrapper on mouse over, we're going to play. So I think I got this from the documentation where under controls, so under controls they have kind of a similar thing, but here they have on click. I just replaced on click with on mouse over, so it's like on mouse over is basically hover. So I'll paste that in there, and that's it. And initially we want it to not play initially, so I think I added something, autoplay false. So we want to add that. We can add it, let's see, I can add it after this. So comma autoplay false. Okay, Then I'll click save, and let me just double check that. Yep, perfect. And I'll publish. And preview. And now when I hover, nothing happens. Okay, because I think I selected, no, that should be working. Let's see. Button wrapper on mouse over animation.play. Let's see if we get an error. Console on mouse over animation. Oh yeah, because I have to initiate give it a variable. So anime equals, so this, we're going to put this anime function inside of a variable called animation equals, because here we're saying animation.play, so we want to play this function when we hover over the button wrapper. So variable animation equals this function. So we'll save it and publish, and I will preview in just a second, and there we go. So now when we hover, it animates. So this could make for like a really cool hero button, and then you can link it out to anything. I'll go ahead and link it out to WebDevForYou.com, and I'll publish one more time and preview. And so when we hover, we have this interesting animation. Then I can click and it'll go to my website. So yeah, just wanted to showcase that you can get really creative with this animation. Again, props to Julian Garnier for creating Anime.js. It's one of my favorite animation scripts, along with GreenSock. And Webflow also has a really great interaction feature for animations. And you could even add interaction to this button to make it like move up or something while it's doing the Anime.js animation. Yeah, but you can get real creative and do a lot of things with this script. So I just wanted to showcase that. I did showcase it in a live stream, but I just wanted to make a quick video on how to do that. This project is clonable. You can go into, if you go to WebDevForYou.com, go to interactions, and then you'll go to my profile and you can see all the projects that are clonable. I have over 150 interactions, some layouts that you can take a look at. This one right here actually showcases more examples of using Anime.js with images and things like that. And I add this button, showcase what I just showcased here. It's also in this clonable. Yeah, so that's basically it for this animation. Hope you enjoyed it. Definitely check out my YouTube channel for more videos. Yeah, this will be clonable. And I do live streams every Monday through Thursday from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Central, where you can come in and just ask me questions about Webflow. If you need help with your personal projects, I do provide help via Super Chats. And it's just a fun live chat. It's getting more and more momentum, and we're just having fun talking about Webflow. So hope to see you there. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next video tutorial. Thank you.